Welcome to another episode of Pitstop Fracas. I'm your host, Mahad, and we're back with our review of the COTA Grand Prix in the USA. And I am joined by Richard. Richard, how are you?
Not too bad, no, not too bad. Just put United in the pack early in the day. Couldn't be more happy. But no, I'm all good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm all good. I just want to apologize to United fans. You're probably listening to this and you're thinking, why are we talking about Manchester United? So we won't talk about them again today. Just to save yourself, your mental health after what happened today. Martz, how we doing, brother? I like your attire.
Thank you. It's been a horrible weekend. Nothing's gone my way.
Is that because Mercedes lost the race today?
That Arsenal won. Everything else, it's been poor.
All right,
Ravens
we'll get into it.
In a pack, it was disgusting, man.
We'll get into it. You got a lot of grievances. I know that. Brother Kunle from over across the pond. How you doing? I liking the matching headgear with the hoodie. You're looking good. For the listeners, you're looking good today. Got the lighting on.
Thank you, bro. I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a good day up until the race. Couple ups, new and old, got put in a pack. Barcelona first, then United. It was good. It was a good day.
It was a good day apart from the race for you. But before we get started, just a bit of housekeeping. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Give us your comments. We love your comments. We reply to all of them. So please comment. Follow us on Twitter at Pitstop Fracas. And make sure you give us a like and a review on Spotify and Apple. It really helps us with our algorithms and so on. So I'll get started today with quali. And there was a lot of build up to this race this weekend. I think we're getting to the business end of the season, 6 races left, and there was a lot of speculation between, if Merca's got faster, especially the talk in practice. Practice 1, Mercedes was absolutely lightning, and then practice 2, even though Lewis' time got deleted, he still had the fastest time, so people thought, they've closed the gap to Red Bull now in terms of performance, and they've looked really, really, really steady from the Turkish Grand Prix and Russia in terms of pace. Q3 and quali was a different story, though. I'll come to you, Richard, first. What was your thoughts on the differences between Red Bull and Mercedes in terms of quali and their paces?
Well, just to start off with practice, I seen practice 1, Mercedes was slapping, 8, 9 tenths the whole second on Max's head, thought, maybe Red Bull have got the engine turned down or something, or, just one of those things. Practice 2, they kind of closed the gap a bit more. I think it's like a couple of tenths in between and whatnot as well. And then we came to quali, and Red Bull looked really, really quick, to be fair. It looked like, especially Checo as well, even in Q3, it looked like he was about to out-qualify Max, which is, a bit of a mad thing, to be fair. But Red Bull looked like they had a lot of pace. I don't think that's any, coincidence, because Adrian Newey just came back after a couple months, after a bad accident. We said that he's seen the problems that he's seen with the Red Bull, and that he fixed them. It looks like he has kind of fixed them, because, we all know COTA to be more of a Mercedes track, steady Mercedes dominance, especially those. For Red Bull to then come and basically match Mercedes and also beat them, was very, very telling. Lewis in Q3, he put out the stunk on lap, but Max also put out the stunk on lap as well, and it just happens to be that he slapped 2 tenths on Lewis's head top, unfortunately. I would have loved it for Checo to get pole, to be fair, if Lewis wasn't going to get pole, because that would have really battled Max, to be honest. But Red Bull looked really, really quick in quality, to be fair. So in the end, it didn't surprise me that they got pole, but it was just one of those things, Red Bull, got the advantage on Mercedes.
Yeah, you made a good point. The fact that in Q3, for our listeners, the ones that missed qualifying, Max qualified P1, Lewis P2, and Sergio Perez P3. In the first stint of qualifying on Q3, Perez put in the fastest time, so it did look like he was going to get pole, but Lewis just snatched it from him, and then, like you just said, 2 tenths Max Verstappen on his last lap on Q3 is scary. It's actually scary. Kunle, Was you surprised at that kind of gap in performance, especially with that time that he put in? Because that's not normal between a P1 and P2 position in quality.
Yeah, it was a bit like it felt like at the time qualifying started. To be fair, from P3 from free practice 3, I didn't really watch much of free practice 3. I was following it, but from free practice 3, it felt like Saturday was going to be damage limitation for Mercedes. Because at some point, even Danny Rick looked fast. Even the McLaren looked fast. Even Leclerc was going top of the timesheets at some point. So it was more of like, okay, what's happened overnight? But the Red Bull this year, man, goodness gracious, they've just been on it. Like, there's not been that many races where they've been off the pace. And yesterday was just, they was slapping. I felt like all things put together, they probably could have gone faster. Based from yesterday, it was more of like Lewis pushing that car to the extreme. And it was a bit tricky because, like, there was the track limits, right? Turn 9. Was it turn 9 and turn 19?
Turn 9, I think. Yeah.
And then there was one other like curb. There was one other like curb white line thing. I think turn 6. I'm not sure. I can't remember correctly. But so I feel like that was on the driver's mind. So even when they pushed, they still had to push within time limits. As you saw, like couple times got deleted. Like even Perez's Q2 time got deleted. The first one he did, he had to do another lap. That's why he didn't have a new set of mediums. So he had to use 2 mediums in Q2. So, but like the pace, I mean, from Q1, it felt like it was going to be a Red Bull 1-2 based on Q1. So Lewis just splitting the Red Bulls was more of a, okay, we got one person between them now and they're not going to run off. So yeah, it was a bit based on Friday up until Saturday, whatever they did in that Red Bull garage, whoever found something, whoever spotted something, they need to give him a raise because that was good job overnight.
Yeah, I think that was a very much damage limitation qualifying. Usually you don't see somebody like Lewis Hamilton barely out qualifying Sergio Perez, somebody that's not notoriously good at qualifying. But he was flying all weekend, Perez, so give credit to him there. But yeah, I kind of think that perfectly sets up for the next point, which was the race. So during the race, we had Hamilton on P2, Verstappen P1 in front of the grid. There was a lot of talk that they was going to make contact on that first corner. We've had that previously this season, as you may be aware, but I was quite skeptical. I didn't think they would be touching. The corner's way too wide to be having contact unless it's kind of like a deliberate. But we saw Lewis have an absolutely fantastic start, quite an opposite to what's been happening throughout the season. And he actually had a better start off the line than Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen kind of squeezed him immediately because he realized he had a quicker start and was pushed out wide. And I think once he got pushed out wide, Perez had the gains on him, but obviously team orders, he's not going to take that spot. And that started the little battle that we had for set up completely. But Martz, what did you think of that start? Was you surprised that Lewis got off the line that quickly?
I was really shocked actually. I was like, Mercedes has not been good from the start all season, so I thought it's going to be one of those ones where Max just takes off and then Lewis probably be chasing him down. But Lewis absolutely took it and just ran with it. Like he didn't yield. He just stuck. He stuck to what his plan was to do, to take it on the inside. And then when Max was trying to push him out, he just kind of like got his elbows out and just pushed Max out. And that was it. Like similar to 2015 with Nico Rosberg. I think Nico yielded a bit more, but Lewis knows the track very well, and it was a very good start. Very good start. That's what I can say. I think what the start missed though clearly was Bottas, and his grid
Weren't good for
penalty. Huh?
It weren't a good
wasn't-
start for Bottas.
Well, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good start for Bottas. It was just that the fact that he had that 5-place grid penalty really hurted Mercedes in that first opening, in those first couple of opening laps. Because if Bottas is there, I don't think Max and Perez are Max and Perez are able to gang up on Lewis like that, and the strategy throughout the whole race as well kind of just played into that, like the fact that Lewis had to pit in earlier than he wanted to because Perez did. If Bottas was there, I think it would have helped Mercedes a lot more with the strategy. So I think when it came down to strategy, I suppose we'll talk about it a bit more in a bit. The Mercedes were kind of in between a rock and a hard place, so there wasn't much they could do except for maybe cover off what Max did when Lewis was leading. But
you make a good point about Bottas not being there and how it can kind of handicap somebody that's leading it, because when you haven't got your teammate there, maybe those situations where Max goes off the track and comes back on doesn't happen if there's Bottas there, because he's not going to yield, and then you've got that buffer right there. So maybe we're seeing the opposite. We've seen how Mercedes over the years, how Lewis and Bottas will bully teams in terms of strategy. We've seen it with Ferrari and stuff like that because of their good qualifying positions. But today, Lewis was kind of left in no man's land. But he did get a great start, and he managed to kick off this whole strategy war. Couple little tussles at the beginning of that race as well. We saw Stroll getting spun out by Latifi. So unfortunate for him, but the two Canadians taking each other out. But Richard, what did you think of the start? And did you think once Lewis jumped him, that was it for him, and he was going to run away with it?
Yeah, it was a really good start from Lewis, to be fair. I was quite surprised, to be fair, that Lewis managed to get off to a good start, because if we're going off the form of the season, he hasn't really had that many good starts, to be fair. So when he has, Max has sort of reacted in a way and then started to squeeze him into like basically the over the white line of the pit lane. So I thought, okay, that's not really surprising. Quite cheeky, but not really surprising. But fair game. Lewis decided, okay, I've got track position. I'm going to push you out wild in retaliation. I'm sure Max wasn't happy with that. But for fair game, you can't try and bully Lewis all season and then expect Lewis not to bite back. I thought it's fair game. People asking for penalties and whatever. Just let them retaliate and just leave it as that. When Lewis got in front, I thought, the only way this is going to mess up is if Mercedes get it wrong with a strategy or something. I don't think it'll be much of a Lewis issue where he mess it up. So obviously when Lewis has been out to the front, and then Max has then pitted, I think after lap 12 or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Lap 11.
Lap 11, yeah. Obviously, he's went on to the hards and whatnot to try to undercut. Obviously, Mercedes, instead of reacting immediately, he said, okay, Lewis, let's go a bit longer, sort of thing. So ultimately, when Lewis has pitted, Max has been able to perform the undercut, and then he's managed to drop 6 seconds on Lewis's head. So it's like, oh, okay, right. How's Lewis going to make this up? So in terms of that, well, we'll get into later on into a bit deep into the race, but yeah, I thought Lewis was going to run away with it, but obviously that was really the case. But no, it was an interesting start, to say the least, definitely.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's kind of set up perfectly for the next type of stages of the race where the strategies came really into play, and a lot of people started pitting earlier because it's about making the first move. Kunle, what did you think? I know Richard just made that point about yielding. I think Lewis has learned his lesson to not yield to Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
these corners.
If you yield way too many times, you lose the edge. You lose your edge as a racing driver, right? I mean, how many times in a season will he yield? And lucky enough, everything is big in Texas, so it was a wide enough. Don't look at me like that. It was a wide enough corner. It was a wide enough corner, even if he pushed him out wide, there was still some track left. But I wanted to go back to something that Matt said about missing Bottas there. You see when Max went wide and Perez was able to like not push. If there was a Valtteri Bottas there, where the pace differential at that stage of the race wasn't huge, because Mercedes had the straight line speed this weekend. If Bottas was there to sort of put pressure on them at that time, Perez doesn't just slow down for Max to get back and go by. It's a whole different conversation, right? Because again, you have to cover Bottas from that start, and that's sort of one of like the key battles there. Like Perez was able to like cover Lewis and force Lewis to go long when Max pitted. So it was more of, okay, we're covering Max, but we also have to cover Perez because it's not that far off. There's not that much of a pace differential there at that point of the race. But one thing about the start that I liked was the McLarens trying to bully Carlos Sainz. That was interesting to watch. Like the first few corners, it was Ricciardo and Norris going. They tried to put him in a sandwich, but it was a bit techie. Like, and Sainz sort of held his own, but Ricciardo ended up getting past, I believe. But that was like a good start. And in terms of like the initial pit stops, Red Bull lost that battle once this season. And ever since they've lost that battle, they've been on the aggressive. They've tried not to be the ones reacting to like Mercedes pitting. They force Mercedes to like, okay, you know what, we're gonna pit now. Show us what you have. And it's worked.
I think they just since what I think that the race you're referring to is Barcelona, right?
Yeah, I believe it was Barcelona.
Day, when they got done by strategy, they said never again. And they've always been the aggressor in terms of strategy and trying to force Mercedes into a move. And it even amplified it even more, the fact that Perez was there and Bottas was not. Yeah. And I know we weren't going to speak about this, but do you think it was a baffling decision, Kunle, about Bottas taking the engine penalty again? Because he's on 7 engines now. I have no idea. He's just got bare engines.
I don't know, man.
It's the 6th one now.
It's 6.
It's a lot of, bro. It's collecting them like them stones, bro. Is collecting them engines like it's Thanos, bro. I don't know what's going on. I mean, over the years, even when Mercedes were dominating, they've always had reliability issues with the engine. But they were so good that they were able to like turn down the engines for some races and still go out there and win. But this year, obviously, they've not been able to turn down the engine. So maybe it's Bottas's driving style, and everyone else is expecting Lewis to take another engine penalty at some point again this year. But it's just been a very weird one. Like, I don't understand why he's taking so many engines. I swear he took back-to-back new engines.
Yeah, from Russia and Monza. He had to take new engines. So there seems to be a real concern about the reliability of engines. And that kind of like waves a red flag for Lewis Hamilton as well, because he's going to have those issues. We saw other different Mercedes engines have penalties this week, and we saw Vettel start from the back, we saw Russell start from the back. Is there issues with the reliability related to this engine? So we'll see how that plays. It's going to be a big factor.
It's interesting because Honda have looked solid this year. I mean, they only have 4 cars. I don't know. They have only 4 cars on the grid, right? That's Red Bull and Alpha, but they've looked solid. If there's not been anything about engine issues, or maybe because they're just using next year's engine already or something like that, but they've made leaps in their reliability, and they're not taking engine penalties because of reliability. They only took engine penalties because their engines got wiped out.
Yeah, that's actually true as well, because they went out due to damage on
because of damage on
Hungary and Silverstone.
Yeah, so it's not been engine issues. It's not been reliability. So I don't know. We'll see. There's 5 races left. I hope Mercedes don't have to take an engine penalty for Lewis, but we'll get to that. We'll get to like the whole title challenge later. But Yeah, I hope they don't have to take another one, because if they do that, then they might as well just say, congratulations, Max, you're the champion for the year.
Just to let you know,
Yes.
Kunle, they are. Toto said that Lewis will have to take an engine penalty. We just don't know where, though. So it could be Mexico, could be Qatar, could be whatever. We just don't know where. But he's going to have to take an engine penalty.
Was that breaking news? Is that breaking news, Richard?
Yes. That's
Breaking news that you're hearing on the pod.
But,
I did not know that.
Well, I heard about this like a week or two ago anyway, that they were planning to give Lewis a new engine soon anyway. So Toto just confirmed it before on Sky, whatever, that he is going to have to. We just don't know where. So it'll be interesting to see, but like the altitude of like, you know, Mexico or somewhere like whatever, whether they take it there, would that make sense? I don't know. It probably wouldn't make sense in Mexico because Mercedes aren't that strong there. So
they hate Mexico anyway. They might as well take it there.
I would take it in Mexico.
Yeah, I'll take it in Mexico. I'll take it in Mexico. I mean,
you say Mexico, but you want to do as much damage limitation you can in Mexico. You don't want Max to get like, for example, you take the engine penalty. I know it only be depending if it's just the ice or if it's a bit more than that. You don't want Lewis to be end up starting from like the back of the grid, because if it's just the ice, you only get like a 5-place grid penalty. And say he qualifies second or third on the grid, they'll drop him back to 8th, and they might struggle to get more points. But you want to do as much damage limitation as possible at Mexico. So you might want to take it at a track you're actually more likely to be quicker at, that you might be able to even fight.
But then looking at the calendar, though, looking at the rest of the calendar, Max, we've got Mexico,
Interlagos might be the better place.
We've got Abu Dhabi. We've got
Qatar,
Singapore.
Jeddah.
We've got Singapore.
Qatar,
right?
Jeddah. No.
So, no Singapore?
No Singapore.
No Singapore. No Singapore.
So,
you need tracks that you can overtake. You need tracks you can overtake, right? I don't know what calendar Kunle is looking at.
I don't.
What kind of events calendar is that?
So we've got Qatar, we've got Jeddah, we've got where else again?
Abu Dhabi.
We've got Interlagos,
yeah.
And we've got
Mexico.
We know Mexico. We know Mercedes. We know that Mercedes, whatever W10, W11, W12. I don't know if W12 will like Mexico. W11 definitely didn't like Mexico. W10 didn't like Mexico. You know, it wasn't ever since Mexico came back to the track. They've not. Lewis has won titles there, but I'm not sure they've put dominating performances there where they're like blasting everyone else off. Interlagos, Red Bull are very good there. Like,
yeah, Max especially.
Max is peachy there, like, and it might rain. And Max in Interlagos in the rain is a bit of a sticky one for everyone else. Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or whatever, whichever it is. Fam, I don't know why they're racing there, but yeah, we don't know what Jeddah's gonna be like, and we don't know what the other one's gonna be like. I'm sounding a bit ignorant right now, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, no one really knows why going for Jeddah and Qatar, so you actually don't sound ignorant. Really,
yeah.
Nobody knows.
That Qatar track just looks awful. I'm sorry, I can't at all.
It's a MotoGP
circuit, they do MotoGP.
So if anything, if I'm Mercedes, if I'm Toto, and I have to punch in the card where I take the engine penalty, I'm taking in Mexico. You know, you're probably not going to qualify higher than second or third. Second at best, if the Red Bull is dialed in. Again, we're saying this because we just expect Red Bull to be good everywhere else.
Red Bull were notoriously good in Mexico, even when they didn't have the fastest car. So what they're going to do when now they've got the fastest car?
So, you know, just take it there. You're probably going to I don't know, Toto might need to bring out the envelopes from Daimler or whatever their company's called, and hand out big envelopes on the grid, like, yo, when you see this black car coming, yeah, just move to the side a bit.
Are you implying bribes? Is this what we're doing right now?
Is that
listen, we have to say allegedly. We have to say allegedly because
allegedly, obviously. I mean, it's tongue in cheek, but it's not looking as straightforward as a Monza would be, or a Silverstone would be, or probably Spa would possibly be. You know, That being said, every time I remember there was that rain flooded race, I get pissed again because that changed, that sort of changed this season in a way.
I think with that, yeah, if it is a tight points difference at the end of the season, yes, it will matter. If Max or Lewis wins by a good margin, then it doesn't really matter. I think if they win by like 30 points, that small race is insignificant because that means that person was going to win anyway, regardless. But I think that you kind of set me up here because that's kind of like the strategy on the long run, and there was a lot of strategy wars in this race as well. So I think it all kicked off with Max Verstappen pitting at lap 11.
Max on lap 11.
Yeah, and then that triggered Perez to pit at lap 13. Lewis went out long. One thing I noticed with Max, when he lapped, he got straight back into position real quick after he lapped. So he overtook everybody he needed to overtake. Who did it? He overtook Ricciardo within half a lap. Like quick dunking. And I was like, okay. So this guy didn't even need to hold up in, like, stay behind anybody.
He caught them in good. He caught them in good places.
Yeah, he caught them in good places and dealt with it accordingly.
Yeah,
and Perez pitted, and we saw Lewis pit at lap 14, and that's when Max took the lead. I think that's where things kind of turned its tide a little bit. But I'll come to you, Martz, on this. Do you think it was the right strategy by Mercedes today? There was a lot going on. It was a two-stopper. It's very strategy dependent. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say because if it worked, it would have been the greatest strategy since Barcelona, but it didn't. So you're looking at it funny, and as I said, hindsight's a beautiful thing because you know what you need to do better. But I think they actually went for the right strategy. I feel maybe they should have brought Lewis in instead of doing +6, +5, or +4 from what they originally planned. Given if he had those extra 2 laps, he would have had less time he had to make up instead of 8 seconds I think he had to make up. He would have only had maybe 6 or 7. So I thought they left him out there a bit too long, and they should have brought him in a bit sooner, and then he would be able to caught Max in the final closing stages of the laps. Whereas this one, he was able to catch Max, but then Max was starting to pull away, and then he got the DRS off Mick Schumacher as well. And then Lewis made that mistake that same lap on turn 11, which kind of just ruined any chances of Lewis winning that race. So it's a tight one. It's a very tight call. I think you can't blame Mercedes this time. As I said with previously, I think the fact that they didn't have Bottas there didn't help anything at all for the strategy. There's no one there to cover for the other Red Bull, where Perez could just stay out and then take the lead off Lewis if he had to. For example, if Lewis pitted after Max, and then they could have done something there. There really wasn't much that Mercedes could do. He was on his own, and I suppose they tried their best. You can't.
Do you think you get handicapped in those type of positions, especially if you're one car up, if you've got the slower car? Because neither strategy works. If you hit early and you try to tell him to do hammer time, it's not going to really work out.
Yes, you got leave him out there. Basically, what Mercedes ended up doing, they wanted Hamilton to do similar to to Hungary. They wanted him to do quali laps on those hard tires for like the next 20 laps to catch Max, and it really wasn't going to work. And you got a glimmer of hope when he was just cutting so much time off, but then he's also working the tires a lot harder than Max is having to as well. So you can't really even say if Max was was tires were actually how bad they were, because apparently the track wasn't, even for tire degradation, the track wasn't that bad for the hard tire. So it was hard to say what stages Max his tires at, whether he was just saving them until the final few laps because he knows Hamilton was going to be there, or is it that the I can't remember my point now, but yeah, it was
Richard, do you think like they looked slow out there, Mercedes, in their medium tires, especially on the first stint? You could see that Verstappen was very, very close to him the whole time in them opening laps, and I don't know whether it was a good idea. Actually, do you think it was a good idea? Because Merck notoriously is not good in dirty air. Was it a good idea to decide to pit Lewis and have him behind Max Verstappen in that race, strategy-wise?
No, definitely not. They should have done basically the overcut, if you will, on them, especially in the slower car, really to make. So I think it would have been more beneficial if Mercedes with the car in front and they were trying to defend against Max rather than him having to chase them down and have to deal with, obviously the DTA, what Lewis encountered towards the end of the race and all stuff like that. Like, it didn't really benefit them, because now you could be pedantic and say, okay, Max is pitted on, I think it was lap 29, and then Lewis is pitted 8 laps later. You would say, okay, maybe Lewis would have caught him had he pitted 2 or 3 laps earlier, really and truly. But then again, you could say, okay, he was within a second towards the end because it was really, really close. But I think really they should have basically done like an overcut to basically get the drop on Max per se, rather than have Red Bull do the undercut on them, and then you're seeing these big gaps. Because when from the first time around when Red Bull pitted, it was a 6-second gap that he dropped on Lewis, and then Lewis is kind of have to make that up. As you said, from the first spell on the mediums, when Lewis was taken off, Red Bull was able to keep up. And I think ideally they would have thought that maybe they were able to get away, but Max was going away anyway, really and truly. So when they've decided, okay, we're going to go longer than what Red Bull are doing per se, and then we'll just make it up towards the end. I don't know. They look better on the hards, to be fair, than what they did on the mediums. To be fair, but no, I feel like you can still. Sorry, you can still. No, go on.
I was going to ask, don't you feel like having Checo there as well, though? Like, if they did get that overcut, even if they pit Max the next lap after Lewis, they'll just leave Checo out there to hold up Lewis, so Max is still be able to gain time on Lewis.
Yeah, but with hindsight, sorry, Richard, but with hindsight, at the end of the race, Checo wasn't a factor.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's just how it just played out in the end.
Yeah, but
I feel like if Checo's actually going to be a factor, Checo would have been a factor. I think Checo was just allowed to drive his own race, and Red Bull kind of knew they had this in the bag. It was theirs to lose after that first pit stop, so they knew it was kind of theirs to lose.
I don't think they knew. I don't think they were.
Horner sounded so smug when he was talking to Sky. He kind of knew it. He knew it was theirs to lose.
No.
And
so at the end of the first,
he was very comfortable. I feel Horner was very comfortable. He wasn't worried at all about the Merc. He wasn't
worried, but at the same time,
I feel
there was always that chance that. So the problem with the hard tires this weekend was that once it fell off. It wasn't able to rubber back in, and So the other race was it Sochi or what? When was the last time the hard tires was in use? Where like it took a couple laps to warm it up again, then it would fall off, then it would pick up again after going through that graining stage.
You talk about Inters.
Well, that was the Inters, right? yeah, that was the Inters. The last race where the Inters would fall off, then it would pick up again. So, but the hards did not pick up again. So once the hards fell off, once you peaked it out, that was it. It was downhill from there. You could probably just manage your pace, or just decide to wreck your tires. So I feel like they knew that, and what Mercedes sort of banked on was that Max wouldn't be able to open that much of a gap by the time Lewis was out of the pit. So on the mediums, I don't think there was ever a time where Lewis was more than 1 second ahead of Max. But then
I don't know. I think
I'm
it's
not,
an indicator.
but for me, the nutshell is I'm not putting that much of a blame on Mercedes.
I would say if I was going to give a one slight to what their decision making, when you saw Max Verstappen pit at lap 11 saying too much dirty air, my tires are hot. Yeah, that's kind of an indication of, okay, what happens when you're directly behind somebody that's leading. And Mercedes should have thought about, okay, if we put Lewis in that situation, what's going to happen? Because your tires are going to get cooked and you're going to start overheating. So, obviously, like you just said, hindsight's 2020. But maybe that was an indication, maybe to make Lewis go out longer, because Lewis can go long if he wants to go long. It's not an issue. Obviously, we're picking between clutching at straws here because we don't know which way the strategy would have worked. But maybe just doing the opposite of what Red Bull were doing might have been the best way to go. I don't think they decided to do their own strategy.
I hear you. I feel like hammer time right after Max pits, 1 lap, come in, get new hards, might have been better. It would have just been whatever they do, we mirror it. So we don't go that. But then also don't forget, Perez was there, right? So even if Lewis mirrored Checo, even if Lewis mirrored Max, they would have just played Perez to go long, and it would have just been almost, Lewis comes out in front of Max, Checo's probably just going to hold him up there, and erects the hard tires, with Max probably just coasting behind and pushing when it was time to push. But again, hindsight 2020, and it was what it was at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't think Lewis needed the 8-lap tire advantage per se over Max, really truly, if that makes sense. I feel like 3 or 4 would have been sufficient. So if they would have maybe pitted him, let's say lap 33, 34, run about that window, I think once the tires kind of warmed up and got into the groove, I think that would have been enough in order to Lewis to try and attack Max with. I think almost Mercedes overestimated how much slower they were than Red Bull, so decided to make it a big enough gap, so that on the second hards he'll have a lot fresher tires, then he'll be able to attack better. But in the end, if you kind of do the maths, then how much newer the tires were compared to the advantages that Lewis was making. He was making good traction in the end. At some laps, there was times, getting 2 seconds, 1.4, 8/10, but really and truly, it still wasn't enough because he didn't even get a DRS zone. I thought he did towards the end, but he didn't. So if you gave him the 3 extra laps, well, not 3 extra laps, if you brought him 3 laps early, I think he would have got him, even though he was having issues with the dirty air per se. But it's on Mercedes again. I'm not going to be too critical of them for this time around because it did almost work, and it wasn't like a major error on their side, but it was an overestimation, I feel. But as I said on Tom's video, it might be the case of strategy what fucks it up in the end for Lewis and Mercedes. Who agrees with what? Lewis didn't really have no pushback for the strategy. He decided to rock with it. It didn't work out. We'll see how it works out for the next 5 races if this happens again. Because if it does happen again, I feel that's was done. So
yeah, I think, look, it's not too bad. Look, you lost the race by 1.3 seconds. It's not like you got completely dunked on. It nearly worked, like Richard just said, and it's just by the slimmest of margins. But you can kind of see the 2 title protagonists right now. The greatest example of how level above they are. Them 2 were 42 seconds above ahead of third place. 42 seconds ahead of third.
They're clear.
The man are clear.
They all did 2 stops.
They all did 2 stops.
They all did 2 stops.
Lewis was 42 seconds ahead of Perez.
They're clear.
Was he wasn't 42 seconds ahead of Perez, was he? I thought it was at 20 plus.
I'm looking at it right now. Wow. 42.2.
That's what he's saying.
Bro, I thought it was
Almost
ahead
two
of
pit
Leclerc.
stops. Almost
It's
two
Levels
pit
above,
stops.
man. Levels above, man.
But yeah,
That's
so
what I'm
Checo was just driving his own race, man. I don't know what he was in no man's land for like most of it. I don't know what he was doing. I feel like
Hey,
he could have done
listen,
a lot better.
you're
But
something. You got a podium, man. He's leaving with
exactly,
something.
man.
He's
He's leaving with
He held,
something.
he held his own.
He's come around the way. He's leaving with something.
Yeah, I mean, he's from
he's had a
from
hard
around the
season.
way.
He's had a real hard season. He has to
He's
leave
from
with
around the way.
something.
My man was driving. He was
Yeah.
driving with no water still. Like, you know, there was no drinks, nothing. He was going around.
No
there,
war.
man.
That's
That is
crazy.
true.
I
That
don't
is
think
true.
people
That
know
is
that.
true. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
For listeners,
In Texas.
Checo drove the whole race without a drink. His drink system
Yeah,
failed.
he left with something. He left with something.
Yeah, he
Well
left
done
it
to
so.
him, man.
Dry mouth also, but he left it so.
He was in the desert of Texas with no water.
Yeah.
That's craziness, man.
You can see at the end he was sitting down, just catching breeze. Like, yeah,
But like I said, slimmest of margins. Max Verstappen gets the win. I think it's a very composed drive from him. But we'll probably speak about him later. But talking about slimmest of margins, McLaren and Ferrari today. What a battle they were having.
boy.
Out with that, especially I know Kunle, you touched on it in the first
Boy.
opening lap.
Yeah,
Give us a breakdown of what happened today between Ferrari and McLaren.
boy. I don't know where that Ferrari pace came from this weekend. I wasn't expecting it, you know. But boy,
They're always good at Kota. Ferrari are always good at Kota.
Not last time.
Yeah, not the
When they
last
got
time.
slapped for their illegal engine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a legal engine. But
FIA said no more illegal engine, and them guys had a mare.
yeah.
that was one time. But last year they had a good race at Kota. I think that one of the few good races at Kota. Leclerc in it. So
What,
Yeah,
2018?
it was
19.
19?
Yeah, then they got like.
No, I think no.
You know what?
Good podium,
P4 for in a way, Charles. Leclerc. Like, I know we call him FIA's son, John.
He's
John
Percival.
Percival, John Todd's love child. John, you know,
Arthur's brother. Yeah, you know.
yeah,
that
someone, you know, yeah,
Stuff like that.
that Donny that lives in Monaco. That don't know his ends. Yeah, but he came out. Yeah, basically, like two people had the races of their own. Like they were just doing their own thing. Charles and Checo. Like it's like Norwich, right? Too good for the championship, not good enough for the league. So where do you put them? And that was Checo and Leclerc today. But once Leclerc got out that start, he just like, you know what? Peace to you, Carlos. You know, Street's is saying you might be the face of this team, but you go do my dirty work for me behind, you know, deal with them papaya boys. I'm just around here, you know, I'm chilling, I'm cooling. But Carlos Sainz, man, he had a battle with Ricardo, he had the battle with Norris. For some weird reason, I don't know how Bottas jumped Norris. I don't know what happened to Norris in the later stages of that race. But I just remember it was Sainz, it was Ricardo, Sainz, Norris, and they were not far off each other. And the lap times are like yo-yoing up, you know. At some point, Sainz was faster. At some point, Norris was the fastest of all three of them. At some point, Ricardo was just holding on to their life. But once Carlos had that bad pit stop, and that was where it all came around. Without that bad pit stop, I feel like Carlos finishes ahead of Ricardo and Norris.
They did it again. Why are they keep checking the signs with these pit stops?
Again.
It's not a
He's
coincidence.
fighting for his life.
Yeah,
Man.
the coincidence.
Yeah. You know, FIA, Ferrari. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy.
Make of it.
Are you saying that? Charles's pit stop was fine, but Sainz's is never fine.
I mean, I didn't say it. The numbers.
Someone said it, innit?
Someone said it. You know, the TV screen show it. It's not me saying it. You know.
But I agree with that person.
0.6 seconds on his head top, you know.
Boy, you know, stationary, not just, you know, stationary 5.6.
They didn't put the back right on. They were sleeping.
And same man,
espresso making.
Man are doing 2.4, and you're doing 5. Hey, it's a bit nasty, but you know, McLaren saw that and immediately. And this is the thing. I like teams that are reactive to that. you see your closest rivals mess up the tin. What do? Stick on them, get onto them. Like, you know what? This guy's messed it up. We can get 2 cars in and out. We'll have a chance to beat him. But obviously, the Ferrari had the better pace this weekend. I think he was able to get Ricciardo back or something.
Yeah.
No.
What happened?
He was able to get Norris.
No, yeah, because Norris had a slow pit stop because they double stacked.
They double stacked. Then obviously Norris got the effect of the double stack, so he was able to get Norris, and he was fighting with Ricciardo up for a while. It was very close to Ricciardo. It felt like
he touched as well.
But you had to he gave Ricciardo the place though. So it's like, remember when they tried to sandwich him and he ended up going out wide.
At the start,
gave Ricciardo
the place.
He gave Ricciardo the place.
Yeah,
and he was told to give Norris the place as well. I don't know if he did though.
I don't think.
No, what happened? He was supposed to give Norris the place, but he gave Ricciardo the place instead. They said, "I'm not giving Norris the place."
Yeah,
because I already gave it to Ricciardo.
See, what did the stewards have to say?
They still said Norris. You have to give the place back to Norris.
So
you end up giving the pace.
It's interesting. It's interesting. You, Kunle, let me get back on the point. You said Ferrari had the pace. It's interesting that Sainz was on softs and he was getting dunked on by McLaren at the beginning of that race.
So again, I feel like you see that start, that medium was the better race tire for the weekend, and it felt like everyone else knew it, apart from Carlos Sainz's engineers.
He said at the beginning on the grid walk, Sainz was like, "Please give me mediums. I wish I could have mediums."
Like, because it's like when Lewis went hungry, and they went on the grid with Inters, and everyone else was coming in for slicks. And it's like you're looking around, everyone else around you has got yellow tires, and you're looking at your tires is red. There's a reason why they didn't do that red. There's a reason why none of them used the softs in Q2. Like in Q2, I didn't see anyone that was serious. It was a lot. You know what? That was peak unseriousness from Carlos' side of the. I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know what experiment it was.
That soft tire this weekend was horrible. I think
it was garbage. It was garbage.
It was degrading so quickly. I think
it was
9 laps.
I don't think it was. It wasn't warming up. It wasn't warming up quick. It wasn't warming up quick enough. It wasn't staying on for long. It wasn't. There wasn't even a pace advantage. Like some races, you're like, okay, these guys are starting on soft. They could get us at the start. But it was vulnerable. Like it was like double homicide, like 2-on-1, going into that sandwich. It made no sense.
Yeah.
It made no sense. I don't know why. It made no sense.
Today, I celebrated Bottas takeover because when he overtook Sainz, that is crucial for the constructors' championship between Ferrari.
It is crucial.
McLaren.
It's crucial for Bottas.
It's crucial. It's crucial for Bottas and it's crucial for McLaren because if we look at the standings now, it is McLaren's got 240 points, Ferrari's got 232.5. Every single point counts right now, and the fact that Bottas overtook Sainz on the final lap just shows how tight this is. Richard, with the apparent speed that Ferrari's got with this new engine, these engine upgrades, do you think? How do you think this is going to go down for the next 5 races between McLaren and Ferrari? Who's going to get third?
As long as Ricciardo stops being a bozo, I expect McLaren to really get third, really and truly, because in terms of duos, Ferrari have been a better duo this season easily. It's not even close. Because every time Charles puts in a good lap or has a good race, Carlos is not that far behind, even if he has to take an engine penalty or whatnot. There's not massive disparities. Let's say, for example, Gasly and Snowden. I know obviously Gasly had to go out today and Snowden managed to get Mike.
Shout out Yuki though.
Yeah, shout out your boy Yuki, man. Yeah, he done his thing. This weekend still. Yeah. You must have seen the thing.
The price is going up. The price is going up.
Okay, so small.
I've heard too many slanders, so I'm closing the doors.
The price is going up. I mean, we held it. I still held.
IPO is closed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
price went
yeah.
up.
If
So,
you got stops,
I'm
you're
not
cool.
invested.
If you ain't got,
Yeah,
if you've been
you know.
cooking me about him the whole season, forget about it.
dollar sign
I buy stocks end of
YUKI.
season.
We love that. YUKI. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Richard, go ahead. Is it going to be close at the end, or do you think one of them's going to run with McLaren or Ferrari? Or Ricardo
think-
didn't let him down this weekend. He didn't let him down.
No,
Quality,
he
quality
didn't.
good. Race good.
He was actually on job. Yeah, practice, quality, race. He was actually on job. But the problem is, can we get that for the last 5 races? We can't just get that once in the blue moon. That because the McLaren's quicker than the Ferraris, no doubt about it, and they've been quicker than the Ferraris for majority of the season. But because it's just Lando, the only one that's showing it, and Ricardo's doing fugazi business. Like he was on all this little Texas bullshit, wasn't he? He drove Dale Earnhardt's car. What is it? All cute little Texas outfit, like his fancy dress.
I like that.
Started doing American accents.
Yeah, he was
If
doing
that
it.
helps him, yeah.
He had the mustache. He felt comfortable.
Yeah.
All the fans were there for him.
I feel like Texas felt like Australia for him this weekend. It was
Mm.
hella comfy. He was going about moving, was running around, not like Pac, but he was still running around.
Yeah.
So it was,
Nah,
it
he
was
was running
really
like a Pac. He was running around like Pac.
It was
he was running around like-
okay.
Hey, listen,
Yeah,
he got Zach
yeah.
Brown a tattoo of Monza on his arm.
Oh, that was what it was.
The Monza track.
I don't mean. Okay.
He does
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. If that's what Danny Rick needs for the end of the season, it should be easy fared for me. I can't lie to you, but as I said, as long as we don't get no more bozo performances from him, if we get more performances like today, as I said, it should be easy, really and truly. But
I don't care. I just
that's
hope
wait and see
both
because
teams are
Ferrari just
muddy.
behind.
I don't care. I just hope both teams are muddy by the end of the season. Don't
This
like
guy's a
anyone.
hater, man. Get out of here, Martz, man. Why you want both teams?
Hey,
muddy?
Martz, why do you hate McLaren and Ferrari?
You hate
that bad?
McLaren and Ferrari. How does this make
How
you
do you
make
hate
Yeah,
McLaren?
Pick a side.
Yeah,
Pick a side, brother.
Huh?
Pick a
I
side.
can't reveal my team in it, but
It's
we,
Alfa
Hey,
Romeo. We know that.
we cooking. It's not Alfa Romeo.
It is. You nasty.
You
high.
You
Nah,
nasty.
The
Nah,
team's
stop,
turning
bro.
into Andretti.
The
Is that an
W's are coming
Italian
soon,
bonnet
bro.
on your head?
Oh, hold on.
Italian
Hold on. Did he just say the W's coming soon? Is he saying Williams is his team on the low? Damon Hill had
back
that.
in Williams.
You
Jack
twerking
Villeneuve
Russell now,
had-
yeah?
The first love, bro. The first love. As I said, the
Okay,
BMW
right.
Williams, that was the first love.
All right.
Yeah, Wolver Snows and that, yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't not-
Man's got Latifi and Albon. Good luck to you.
Yeah. It's a bit. I'm sorry.
Hold that. Mark, hold that.
Yeah.
Williams, they look
dry.
Yeah. This is gonna get
calm,
clipped.
man.
Next
It's
year.
calm.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. It's not.
Martz has been revealed. Now we now have a Williams fan
Fine.
on Pitstop Fracas.
We have a Williams
So,
fan.
Fine, man.
If you are a Williams fan out there,
Fine,
you're
man.
not alone.
Listen, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm used to this
You're used
stress
to
and
losers.
disappointment. Exactly.
We're saying Arteta team principal, yeah? Say no.
That is not a team principle we want to see.
No, I don't want
That
to
is
see.
not a
Arteta
team principle
being
we
team
wanna see.
principal. No.
All right. Before we go, driver of the day. I'm gonna go to you, Richard, first. Who is your driver of the day?
Gotta give it to Max, There wasn't really any massive stand. I mean, Seb drove a good race, to be fair. Alonso did until he started moving mad, running around like he pack
Oh,
against
before
Martz boy Gio.
we need to speak about Alonso. Alonso was moving bad today. He was.
He
moving
tried it.
absolutely insane.
He tried it.
And did you hear the radio Alpine between Alpine and Michael Massey?
Hella
that was
sus.
ridiculous.
TSM was
the way
on a
they
break at the
the
time.
way they teed up Massey and said, "Yo, so what did he say? Are we allowed to go off track for overtakes? Are we?" Massey's like,
Yeah.
"No." So are we allowed to go track overtakes? It's like Massey's like, "No." So why'd you allow Raikkonen to do that thing? And Massey's like, "Rah, no, that's not acceptable." Blah blah blah. I don't, fam. The way these man bully Massey here is unreal. They do it in so many creative ways, fam. It should get reports like Ofcom or something. Because fam, the bullying is new, fam. Honest to God, the bullying is new. You can just tell he's trembling, his voice, he's shook and everything, fam. Honest to God, he's just taken for a small boy, fam. He needs to get replaced. I'm sorry, but you can't be having a director like that.
The most beautiful thing this season is Alonso beef with FIA. He probably said on the radio, speak to Michael Massey about that. Because Raikkonen did the same thing. He's got a vendetta against FIA. And you will never see anything like this. That he's doing. The overtake on Giovinazzi is not even an overtake. This is lawless driving that he was doing.
Perhaps.
And he just said, and then he started celebrating, like, yes, he's taking the piss. He's taking the piss.
No, you know the wild thing, yeah. He went wide. He was never making that corner. He was never making it. And my man just goes zoom. And he comes back on track. And he gets on the radio like, yes, let's go, let's get it. And I'm thinking, this man, bruv.
This
what
guy
are you
celebrated.
doing?
He's celebrating. He's celebrating a layup after the buzzer beat on. The
You know-
buzzer's already gone. You're celebrating layups.
Bruh.
What we did?
Bro, when they told him you have to give the place back, I was trying to act like he didn't know what happened. Like, oh no,
That's when he got onto his engineer and said, "Let's go speak to Michael Massey."
bruh. I don't know,
he's
man.
a sicko.
Fernando
He's a
needs
sicko.
to chill. He needs to chill.
So he's definitely
he
not
needs to
driver of
chill.
the day. He's definitely not.
He's
driver of the
definitely
day.
not driver of the day. He's not
Should
driver
you give
of
it
the
to
day.
Max? Composed drive.
Yeah, I'll give it to Max. Yeah, solid drive from him. To be fair, faultless. No one else really stalled. To be fair, so yeah, I'll give it to Max.
Yeah, it was a lot. Funny thing, it was a race that had a lot, but also you can't really say, okay, this person was like ridiculously
Outstanding.
spectacular.
Yeah.
I want to give it.
normal.
I want to say Charles
way.
Leclerc, but then I can't give you driver of the day when you're 52 seconds down on the winner.
I lie.
Yeah. People were saying Leclerc should get driver of the day. I'm like, for being a nomad,
He's
man.
like
You want to get above Max, you stay composed the whole race.
You were like 52 seconds behind the person in front of you, like almost a minute. And I want to give it to Yuki, but he was a lap down. It's a bit-
Sympathy thing. Sympathy thing. That's what it is.
yeah. I mean,
Yuki got
Seth-
P9, yeah, outscored Gasly. How about that? Hold that.
But no, Gasly didn't finish.
Hold that.
Gasly had problems.
You are so
I'm
shameless.
shameless.
And his stocks are rising, B.
Mahad.
I'm shameless. but
Yuki coin.
nah.
Buy some.
Yuki-
Small increments. That's what it is.
Yeah, we got
That's
that
where, like,
post
Dodge
in.
coming from.
We got that huge dump. Someone did a dump, and we ain't good.
Yeah,
I
listen,
might sell some of
Q3.
I might sell.
Points finish. What
I might sell some of it before the next race because in this times in this.
So Kunle, is Yuki your driver today?
You know what? Because I slandered him the last time. I think it was I slandered him on the quick stop. So yeah, I'll give Yuki my driver of the day because he did what he had to do.
Love that.
Yeah.
Martz, who's your driver of the day?
The TV director, as I said, we didn't miss one single piece of action. We saw everything. Like it wasn't even like, oh, we missed this and we have to go back to a replay. It was all there live on the screen for us, and it was beautiful to see. And that pit stop camera they have as well, yeah, where it just goes just down there, beautiful. That's my driver of the day.
So it's jail then, yeah, safe.
Man's giving it to directors. Man wants to give it to George Lucas, and I know he was there. during the race. Give it to the directors.
That's my driver of the day, bro.
But yeah, okay, you give it to the director. I'm not even a driver. I'm gonna say I'm giving my award to Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey came back, turned the engines up, done whatever he needed to do with the aero, came back, and it's like everything's back to normal for Red Bull.
Yeah,
So Adrian Newey,
it put Mercedes
10 drivers titles for a reason.
It put Mercedes
10
in a
constructors
pack,
for a
man.
reason, bro.
Not gonna lie.
He put Mercedes. Adrian Newey. Listen, this brother has had operations that he put Mercedes in a pack. He came back.
Man was like, you know
Quickly.
what? I stepped out for a bit. Had a little crash on the road, but yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty.
I hear that. Mazepin Award, guys.
Alonso.
Who are we giving it to? I'm gonna
I
go for
do
Richard
not
first.
care. Alonso.
It's tight, because I'm thinking, should I give it to Mazepin because he finished like 2 minutes behind? Or should I give it to
Oh,
Alonso?
what's the time?
Let me see.
find
Let
this.
me see. Let me see.
1 minute 42
It
seconds.
was it was 2 laps down, but I don't know what the.
I think it was 1 minute 42 seconds behind the person in front of him who was his teammate.
So, man. Do you know what? He hasn't received the award. I don't know why. I can't lie. I'm going to give it to him because he just keeps disgracing himself. So, yeah, honorable mention to Alonso, though, for that crackhead behavior. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to Mazepin.
Kunle, who are you giving it to?
Alonso, man, he was being a bitch, bro. He was being a bitch this weekend. He did it with Kimi. He pushed Kimi off the track. Kimi comes back on. It's like, he overtook me off the track. Bruv, you literally drove the man off the track. He either goes off the track or both of you, like, 80-something-year-olds are out. It was one or the other.
Hey, listen, man. OAP corner is coming back soon, man.
Yeah.
I was having
He made
flashbacks with that Kimi Alonso fight.
felt like 2005 again, eh?
Yeah,
But it made
man,
no
it's crazy.
sense. Yeah, I think I'm giving it Alonso, man.
Giving it Alonso.
And it helps
Martz
that he didn't finish the race either. So yeah.
retired for no reason. Martz, are you giving it to?
PDR and Horner. Hate
Why?
Because I hate them.
No, you can't do
that's
that, man. You need
You're
to-
just grumpy.
We need
Matt, you're
Russian
just
out
grumpy.
here. This is a podcast. We're making content.
I'm sorry, but I can't see a happy Horner. I can't see a happy Horner.
You see him
I have to
smiling,
listen.
hands on hips, power
I
stance.
can't do it. I can't do
All
it. I have to
weekend
go to
power
Horner.
stance.
He's been grinning. He's been grinning teeth all weekend. I can't stand him. Can't stand it. So Horner and PDR just for PDR for even starting that stupid stuff at practice about the active suspension. Like, what are you? Is he stupid? He's a former driver, and what are you doing, bro?
He's a sicko.
He's an
a
absolute
sicko.
imbecile, bro.
He tried to
Absolutely
pretend like he had
not.
breaking news. I was like, what is this? How is this
Alive?
breaking news, brother? Are you all right?
Nothing
And that
to
exposed a lot of
TMZ.
people because a lot of people out there do not know normal, basic Formula One
Science.
aerodynamics.
Bro, they don't know
Just
things
normal
about basic
physics.
basic car knowledge, bro. What is this? Yeah, PDR and Horner.
Because they say, oh yeah, Mercedes is cheating. What are you talking about, brother? What's going on?
Active
I think they got.
suspension,
I think people get rattled both sides. People are getting feeding too much into free practice, man.
Bro, man on Twitter, we're getting spun because of P1, bro. FP1, you know.
FP1. How long have you
FP1
watching
had man rattled.
Formula One to get
FP1.
gassed about
You know,
FP1?
this is the first season I've ever watched FP1 in my life.
Don't to listeners and to new people in Formula One, yeah, do not take stock in FP1. It don't mean nothing.
FP1.
They're driving
Or
with different
FP2 or
fuel
FP3.
loads, different modes. They don't. It don't
Yeah,
matter.
I mean, if you're gonna take some
for once in our lives, we've seen Red Bull sandbagging. Red Bull sandbagged.
I swear FP1 is where they let like the reserve drivers, like the drivers that pay to get a drive. Like, okay, you know what? Go spin the car around for a bit, come back. We're not learning anything from here. The real shit starts in FP2.
Oh, it's been this coup.
FP1, bro. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
But anyways,
Oh Lord.
I think that might be the name of the pod. We talk about practice.
Talking about practice.
But anyways, thank you
Nah.
everybody for listening.